folks, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing a current affair topic presented to you by a faculty, Sushma KP. So what is the topic that we will be discussing today? US tariffs on India. What are the economic impact, trade policy lessons that we can learn from this issue? In this, we will be discussing about your background and timeline, generalized system of preferences or your system of GSP, and also understanding tariff and trade deficit, Trump's protectionist logic, what are the implications for India and what are the economic and policy takeaways from this, and also we will be seeing what is the way forward and a possible mains question from this topic. Alright. So, I said the topic we will be discussing now, how or in what ways is it relevant to your UPSC. From your GS paper 2, we will be looking at it from your India-US relationship, WTO, trade negotiation, trade deals, understanding. From your GS paper 3 perspective, we will be seeing international trade, macroeconomic impact, protectionism. From your essay paper, they could focus on the topics more on your globalization versus protectionism, understanding nationalization of economy. Next, what is the issue at hand? See, first and foremost, US President Donald Trump had levied 25% taxes, that is tariffs on India. Alongside that, he had levied additional 25% of tariffs on India or Indian imports. Now, this is totaling up to 50% of tariffs on Indian goods. If this was to continue, then our GDP will take a beating where our GDP can slip to 0.5%. India's GDP can fall by 0.5%. Now, we are talking at GDP level, then that is a big disadvantage. Also, the sections it is trying to target is also very crucial for India's stability and also protection of India's vulnerable sections. What that is in the course of the video, we will discuss. Before that, we have a small announcement from Legacy IAS Academy. If you are someone who is looking forward to start your UPSC journey, then look no further, you have found the perfect destination with Legacy IAS Academy. Why do I tell that? First and foremost, in Legacy IAS Academy, we offer one-on-one mentorship training. You can freely talk to your educators. Also, there is daily prelims test series and daily mains answer writing challenge alongside your mock interview panels. Understanding? Alongside that, you have the option to choose either online or offline mode. You can also have your weekday and weekend classes. Your weekend classes are more curated for working professionals and students. If you want to see how the classes work, you can schedule a demo class online or offline. All you have to do is call the number given below and check out about your Legacy IAS in the Legacy IAS website. Alright, now let's get back to the topic. What is the background? What happened? Is this the very first time Trump is levying this much tariff, or has the difficulty been arising before also? First and foremost, Trump's view on India is the most protectionist country, or even has called India as the tariff king. Understanding? It also tells that there is a huge trade deficit of USA with India. USA is also claiming that India is not giving a level playing for both US and India deal. It is claiming that out of any bilateral trade that happens between USA and India, only India is having the upper hand and US is having the trade deficit. This view has been held by Trump, and this was confirmed when US President Donald Trump withdrew the GSP in 2019. What is this GSP? It is called as Generalized System of Preferences. This is more like, in simpler layman terms, if I have to explain it to you, developed country gives this Generalized System of Preferences or GSP to a developing country so as to boost the imports. so that developing country can have an advantage in the trade. India was also given this. This concept of GSP was introduced in 1971 under UNCTAD framework. India was also one of the largest beneficiary from this your GSP. 2019, Donald Trump removed the status or withdrawed India from GSP, claiming that India is already overusing and abusing its tariffs and not giving a level playing field to your USA, so it withdrew. Before withdrawing GSP for India, India was having duty-free access for more than 1900 products. That was disrupted. Understanding? Now, what are the recent developments that is happening? Like I told you, Trump had imposed 25% tariffs on India. Again, he levied additional 25% tariffs on India. The formal reason given out by a US President Donald Trump was that India is the constant purchaser of your Russian oil, and this is what is funding your Russia in Ukraine war, and they are trying to cut that. But if you see the irony in this, US itself buys a lot of stuffs from Russia, China buys from Russia, EU buys from Russia, but none of these people have been slapped with sanctions, that is your tariffs. Only India has been done that. If you see the real reason, first reason, he has claimed that to end the Russia-Ukraine war, I am putting secondary tariffs, and only on India he has put. The formal reason he gave is because he is trying to end Russia-Ukraine war. But the real reason, if you see, it is trying to force India or arm twist India into sign a US-India trade deal that will benefit USA. There are certain key sectors which India is not agreeing, that is, it wants open market. USA wants India to open its domestic market to US products, which when India did not agree, this is how your US is trying to arm twist India into signing a trade deal between USA and India favorable to USA. Understanding how India responded? It claimed that this is unfair, unjustified and unreasonable. Understanding? India did not retaliate back, but at the same point of time, it is trying to look for alternate courses, and it has voiced out its concerns, telling that it is an unfair, unjustified and unreasonable amount of tariffs that is levied on India. Now, first I have been using the words tariffs, trade deficit. Let us understand what is a tariff. Make it in a very simpler language, I will explain. USA, now let us say a product A, okay. This product A is from India. Understanding? Now, when this product is given to USA, when the US customer goes to buy this product, now with the increase of the tax, let us say this product was 10 rupees. This person, US person, if he has to buy this product, now there is a 50% increase of the price of this particular product. So, which means it makes a Indian product costly for a US customer. So, what does the customer do? He has two options. One, he will look for other alternatives of different countries, or he will stop buying this product itself. This will make it a big difficulty for Indian exporters. Understanding? So, a tariff means it is a tax on imports from a particular country, making the foreign goods costlier for domestic consumers. Understanding? So, this is a tariff. Next, what is a trade deficit? Let us say in US and India case, US is claiming that US is having more of imports from India compared to the less of exports to India. So, trade deficit means imports are more than your exports. What is Trump's protectionist logic? So, in order to try to bring a fair trade deal, Trump thinks that the only way to equalize trade or normalize the trade or reduce the trade deficit is through by imposing tariffs. This can happen in two ways. According to Trump, that logic in trying to settle the trade, let's say, in this case, in the present case, in order to settle with the trade deficit, two things can happen. A, put additional tariffs on India, or B, make India buy more of your American products, let's say with respect to defense, crude oil products. Yes? So, in these two ways. And one of the things that he does not understand is that you cannot levy trade deal, that is, you cannot automate the trade deal. It has to be a naturalistic quotient. Every country will have its own trade surplus and trade deficit. He is not just looking at the overall trade, but he wants to look into even bilateral trade. That is what is the issue now, where your US wants India to sign a bilateral trade agreement which will benefit your USA. Understanding? So, the reality of balanced trade, which is supposed to be natural, is trying to be altered by your Donald Trump's tariffs. It is not that he has slapped tariffs only on India. He has slapped tariffs on India with countries that are having surplus also with your USA. But the largest tariff is slapped on India as of now. What is the economic impact this will have on India? First, the GDP. Experts have suggested if this proceeds, the GDP can fall up to a 0.5%. And also this will create a huge loss in export earnings, and this will impact the manufacturing sector, and also most impacted will be your MSMEs. Understanding? Then this will also have a foreign policy dilemma as to now should we buy our energy from Russia. What other alternative we have? If we do, then it will not be at a cost effective price. This also hurts the investment sentiment because the tariffs will reduce the competitiveness of a product, which means there will be a possible shift in the supply chains to different countries. So, this could also have a political and diplomatic impact where a huge strain in India-US relationship will be created, and that too it was built with so much curation from past 2005. Your 123 agreement, civilian nuclear deal, it took a lot to build India-US relation, and now it is being dented because of these things. This will also affect the regional cooperation that India and USA are part of, for example, your Indo-Pacific, your Quad. What are the economic and policy takeaways? First, India should diversify its economic markets. That is, it should reduce the dependence on a single market, that is your USA. Try to see for the regional markets such as your ASEAN countries, and also boost domestic competitiveness. How can you boost the domestic competitiveness? Simple. You will try to reform the labor laws. You will lower the logistic cost. You will improve the quality of the standards, understanding of the products, and you will try to see, we have brought in about a lot of schemes here, PM Vishwakarma, right, we are trying to skill India, stand up India, start up India. So, you will try to boost the entrepreneurship, local employment generation on the line suited for your 21st century globalization. So, what are the economic and policy takeaways that we can take? Trade diplomacy, engagement in free trade agreements in your ASEAN countries, EU, Africa, understanding, and also utilize the WTO dispute resolution mechanism very effectively. Another thing, when we say WTO, US has an issue with India self-claiming itself as a developing country. Why? Because again we have special and differential treatment which US wants to be removed for India. Avoid tit for tat retaliation with USA because that would hurt our economy even more, and more importantly our vulnerable sections of MSMEs will get affected. Build strategic economic resiliency. We should not just look at this as a temporary shift where we will tell 2029 he will just walk away. This should not be about Trump or not. This should mainly be about building an economy that will be suitable to absorb the shocks. Understanding? So, that will be more on the sustainable level. So, what is a possible mains question? We can look at this. Discuss the implications of rising US protectionism on India's economy and foreign policy. How should India respond to safeguard its trade interests? First and foremost, this is not all about just trying to brace through this shock, but build a resilient economy for any further such interventions. Understanding? So what is the way forward? Pursue diplomacy with USA while at the same time maintaining strategic autonomy. Push for structural reforms in trade competitiveness and also build our India's economy for absorbing the shocks and still continuing. Strengthen domestic market, create a balanced strategy. So this is what India is supposed to do. These are the lessons we are supposed to take away from your present US tariff policy. With this, we have come to the end of the content. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, share it along with your friends. Thank you.